I'm feeling low.
Well, hey there friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brianna. I am a certified personal trainer, a big, huge biology nerd, and a registered dietitian to be. We are assembled here today for another episode of me debunking and reacting to some of the crazy stuff that multi-level marketing distributors say about health, science, and everything in between on their social media. Before we proceed, if you love science-based health, wellness, and fitness education, and with some lulls, and some dry sarcasm along the way. But without anything further, let's make lemonade. So let's kick things off with some Monat science that's not really science. Funny thing about this clip that you're about to see, if you enjoy anti-MLM related content, then you may already be subscribed to Deanna Mims. Alpha just farted. She actually beat me to this one. Someone actually sent this one to me like a few weeks ago, several weeks ago, but it's just kind of been stewing in my phone. And then Deanna made an anti-MLM top fails and featured this one. By the way, I'm drinking a cold brew that I got from this local coffee shop that I like to go to. And I wanted to get pumpkin spice seasoning, but they were all out of pumpkin spice syrup. So I decided to get gingerbread syrup instead. I got 2 pumps of gingerbread and 2 pumps of sugar-free vanilla. And I just don't like the gingerbread at all. And I'm very disappointed at this purchase. But we're going to drink it anyway because I don't want to be wasteful. All right, here we go. So this person was showing us a strand of hair that has an obvious split end. They have a product on their fingertip, which looks like weird watered down ranch, but it's probably not ranch. And they're touching it to the piece of hair, and then we are watching the split end close somehow, or get fixed. Mend, if you will. I don't know what product this is exactly because they don't say it anywhere in the caption and it's not indicated. But let's be honest, it doesn't really matter what product it is because you cannot fix split ends by just using a topical product. The only product that is actually known to fix split ends for sure is scissors, because the only way to get rid of split ends is to cut them. That's something that I feel like is common knowledge, but I don't know, I guess it's not. But you guys know me, I am not a hair care professional, so I did have to consult with a couple professionals on this to get their input. Last week I got my hair done, and while my stylist was just chopping away at my hair, I just kind of asked her off the cuff, hey, is there a product, like a topical product that can fix split ends? Like glue them back together, if you will. And I didn't show her this video. I didn't think to. I don't know why, but I just didn't show her the video. I didn't mention anything about like brands. I didn't mention Monat. I didn't say anything. I just said, is there any type of product that can fix split ends? She said, basically, the short answer is no. And then she explained and she said, products that claim to fix split ends, usually just what they do is they'll seal the cuticle of the hair, which is just temporary. It just fixes the appearance of it. It doesn't actually fix the split end. She said it's not permanent and eventually the end will split again, and ultimately the only way to fully get rid of split ends is to cut them. I also showed our friend Lindsay. For those of you who don't know, Lindsay is a friend of the channel whom I've consulted with before for videos specifically related to hair care, because though she doesn't work in the hair care industry anymore, she told me she spent 15 years as a professional hairdresser. I don't have our responses anymore because, oh, and this is another side note, since that conversation that Lindsay and I had, I would show you guys screenshots, but her account like somehow got disappeared or hacked or something. And so she had a few thousand followers. I don't remember exactly, but she had a decent chunk of followers and she had really good engagement, and her account just kind of disappeared, so she's having to start all over. So that's one of the reasons why I can't show you guys screenshots of our conversation, because I don't have it anymore because her account has just disappeared. So I'm pretty sure I can't access them anymore. Anyway, you guys should give Lindsay a follow. Anyway, I sent Lindsay this clip and I think I just made her brain implode. We didn't have a super extensive conversation, but I remember I showed it to her, and I showed this clip to her because it's ridiculous, and she completely agreed. She was like, I don't get what this is supposed to be proving. It's not fixing the split ends. So our hair is made up of a naturally occurring protein in our body called keratin. There is no mass-produced hair care product that can essentially glue your split ends back together once they are split. You know what product does fix split ends though? Scissors. Can my hair care professionals please testify in the comments below? Let's move on. Okay, so that first one was Monat, like I said, and this next one we're going to take a look at is Beachbody, and this is a pretty prominent Beachbody distributor at the elite level. From my understanding, hitting elite as a coach pretty much just means that their team is hot and they're just making tons and tons of money for the company. You guys already know that I take huge issue really with all multi-level marketing companies and just a lot of the inaccurate and just misleading claims made by a lot of the distributors. But what really rubs me the wrong way is when a distributor for an MLM has a huge following, and this person has a huge following. At the time of filming this, I believe her Instagram following is at like 265K. So like over 250,000 people follow her, which is, you know, it's a lot of people. Roll clip.
I also wanted to share a little bit with this. I blew a 2 yesterday and I blew a 2 today, which is good. So if you own one of these, in the morning, blowing a 1 or 2 is good because it shows that throughout the night you're mostly burning fat, which is absolutely what you want to do. You should not be burning carbohydrates through that long fast overnight. And some things that affect that number could be obviously stress. Stress is going to raise the number a little bit. Exercise is going to raise the number. So if you're blowing a 2 and a 3 throughout the day around meals, and sometimes maybe even a 4, that's okay. You just don't want to live up in the 4s and the 5s all the time, because it means that your body is only burning carbohydrates and kind of has lost the ability to know how to burn the fat, which keeps you inflexible. So I love this because it really shows you what your metabolism is doing in real time, which is what we need, way more than a scale.
Sorry, I forgot to let you guys know ahead of time. This story was captured several weeks ago. The device she is holding and the device she's talking about is something called a lumen. I have heard of this device before. A lot of you guys have reached out and been like, this kind of seems funny. This kind of seems like pseudoscience. Truth be told, I haven't done a ton of independent research into the device or the company myself, so I really can't comment too heavily on it at the moment. But from some really brief research, I believe there is actually a scientific basis to the way this device works. And I'll get into that in a second. Because the discussion today isn't whether or not the device works. We're not talking about the device. You know, we're talking about some of the stuff that she just said. I have to bring attention to some of the things that she said because it is not accurate. She said she blew a 2 yesterday and a 2 the day before. Then she says that blowing a 1 or 2 is good because it shows that throughout the night that you're mostly burning fat, which is, quote, absolutely what you want to do. You should not be burning carbohydrates through that long fast overnight, end quote.
In the morning, blowing a 1 or 2 is good because it shows that throughout the night you're mostly burning fat, which is absolutely what you want to do. You should not be burning carbohydrates through that long fast overnight.
So the numbers that she's referring to are about the device itself, the lumen. The levels that are indicated for this device are on a scale of 1 through 5. The lower number you blow means your body is burning more fat for fuel. The higher number you blow means your body is burning more carbohydrates for fuel. Just a minute ago, I said that there is a scientific basis to this device, and I'll explain that right now. So it seems to me that this device is like a super cheap, kind of a knockoff way of measuring something called your respiratory quotient, or RQ. So your respiratory quotient is a ratio, and it measures the volume of carbon dioxide, CO2, that's expelled to the volume of oxygen, or O2, that's being used by your body. In the clinical, like medical scientific setting, respiratory quotient is measured on just a scale that goes up to 1. Determining someone's RQ is a really useful tool for for the clinical healthcare staff, especially the dietitian, because depending on where your RQ is, it tells us what substrates, between mainly carbs or fats, that your body is using more of for fuel. It helps shows how somebody's metabolism is behaving, and depending on what someone's RQ is, it might call for an adjustment of their diet. Also, that depends on what condition they're dealing with. So an RQ of about 0.8 is considered to be ideal because that indicates that your body is using a mix of carbs and fats for energy. If you have an RQ closer to 1 or at 1, that means that you're producing more CO2, which means that your body is using more carbohydrates, which could indicate overfeeding. A lower RQ of like 0.6 or 0.7 typically means that your body is using more fat for fuel and is producing less CO2. An example in the clinical setting of when RQ might be helpful is like if a patient is being treated for COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or maybe also in patients that are healing large wounds like people who are burn victims. How does all this play into the Lumen device? Well, to measure one's respiratory quotient, what do you think they have to look at? Your respiration. And how does the Lumen device claim to determine your metabolic breakdown? By having you breathe into it. So that's why I said before that even though it does kind of seem funny and kind of questionable, I believe there is a scientific basis like to the impetus of this device. Whether or not it works and is necessary for just like a regular person who just like wants to be fit and healthy, I mean, that's not really discussion for this video. To reiterate here, she says that blowing, sorry, I have to look at my notes. She says that blowing a 1 or a 2 is good because it shows that throughout the night that you're burning mostly fat, which is, quote, absolutely what you want to do. You should not be burning carbohydrates through that long fast overnight, end quote. She also says, quote, you just don't want to live up in the 4s or the 5s all the time because it means that your body is only burning carbohydrates and kind of has lost the ability to know how to burn the fat, which keeps you inflexible, end quote.
You just don't want to live up in the 4s and the 5s all the time because it means that your body is only burning carbohydrates and kind of has lost the ability to know how to burn the fat, which keeps you inflexible. So
this is, I don't know why she said that. Anyone who is familiar with human physiology, biology, anything like that, knows this one standard golden rule. Your body's favorite source of fuel is carbohydrates for most of us. Now, there are certain situations, for example, if a human has gone a very, very long time without food, when your body may have to switch its primary fuel source when your glycogen stores have been completely tapped out. Glycogen is a storage form of glucose. Glycogen is primarily stored in your liver and your skeletal muscle. When your body needs energy, it will typically dip into these stores first. However, in a dire situation such as being stranded on a desert island and not having any food to eat, after your glycogen stores are completely tapped out, your body's like, oh I need some energy and I'm out of glycogen. At that point, your body is desperate and will start to turn to other sources to get energy from. And at this point, your body will probably start breaking down fat for energy just to keep you alive. This process is called gluconeogenesis. The word broken down, gluco means sugar, neo means new, and genesis means the beginning. So gluconeogenesis is essentially new sources of sugar that your body has to create from non-carbohydrate sources. And typically your body will choose fat in this situation. Gluconeogenesis is your body's backup plan. And this is pretty much the idea with the ketogenic diet as a means to lose weight. Now, I've expressed my thoughts on keto for at-home weight loss before on my channel. For weight loss, it's generally not necessary, and for a lot of people, it can actually, for a lot of people who do it unsupervised, because unfortunately a lot of people do, it can lead to long-term damage to your body. That being said, there is a practical application for the ketogenic diet in the clinical setting. For example, and I've talked about this before, the ketogenic diet has been shown to be safe and effective treatment for epilepsy in epileptic children. When the primary fuel source for the brain, which is carbohydrates, is switched to ketones, which are the byproduct of fat breakdown, it's been observed that seizure activity is greatly reduced. Now, whenever someone is doing the ketogenic diet for the treatment of seizures, they are under serious and extensive close medical supervision. They are seeing a physician. They are seeing a registered dietitian. They are seeing a nurse practitioner. They are probably getting regular blood work done. They are being carefully watched because allowing your body to use fat for a primary fuel source instead of carbohydrates too long can have negative consequences on your health. And that's why as a science person and as a future registered dietitian, I get really concerned when I see people kind of jumping into keto because they saw it on social media just to lose a few pounds without any sort of medical supervision, because people really never know how they're impacting their health by doing it. Quick side note, my friend Allie, which if any of you guys have watched my 2-part series on the 21 Day Fix, Allie was a registered dietitian who I featured in those videos. Allie's a registered dietitian and she specializes in Mediterranean nutrition. Allie actually has a module in her nutrition school that's called Keto to Carb Lover. She started that module because she started to get so many clients that were ex-keto people and they had to go back to eating carbs but had a hard time kind of figuring out how to reincorporate them into their diet. But they had to start eating carbs again because they were having negative health consequences, like gallstones is one that she told me about that she's seen a lot, which can come from eating a diet that's too high in fat for too long. If these people had been medically supervised, like one typically should be while they're doing the ketogenic diet for its intended purposes of epilepsy treatment, then complications like that can be minimized or even avoided completely. Anyway, back to this Beachbody coach. Referring to the last thing that she said that you don't want your body always burning carbohydrates because if your body does, it, quote, it has lost the ability to know how to burn fat, end quote. This statement is ridiculous. The human body is a fascinating and complex piece of biological machinery. Your body doesn't typically forget how to do stuff or lose the ability to do stuff, as she said. Now, with the exception of people who live with certain diseases or conditions and the stuff that kind of happens to us all as humans naturally as we age, obviously. If I started fasting right now, today, my body would know exactly what to do. It would likely start by tapping into my glycogen stores to make some glucose for some energy initially. And then after several days to weeks of not eating, my glycogen stores have been completely tapped out, my body will likely then begin gluconeogenesis and start burning my body fat as fuel to keep me alive. Gluconeogenesis is not something that my body needs to be reminded to do. My body does this because my only purpose as a living, breathing, carbon-based life form is to survive and reproduce. While I have no plans to reproduce, sorry uterus, my body's primary job is to just keep me alive. And it will do that at all costs. Just because I'm not going out of my way to force my body to use fat for energy instead of carbohydrates, that doesn't mean that my liver forgets how to do gluconeogenesis. If need be, my liver could do that right now, but it doesn't have to because I'm well fed and full of coffee. Her saying that to me is tantamount to whenever people say things like, reset your metabolism, and then they're shilling some shake or like some detox cleanse or something. It's ridiculous. Your metabolism doesn't need to reset. Your metabolism doesn't stop just because you eat a cheeseburger and a beer. The day your metabolism stops is not a good day for you. And you need a team of medical professionals, not a detox tea or a cleanse. For those of you who know who this particular coach is, then you probably know she talks a lot about fasting. On her Instagram profile, she claims to be an intermittent fasting expert, which to my knowledge, no such degree or certification even exists. Now, truthfully, fasting is likely the way that she keeps her body in this fat burning phase, because normally, as I said before, your body will typically choose glucose as its primary source for energy, not fat. My guess is that in order for one to achieve a state like this, they'd have to be doing a lot of like methodical and specific things in their diet to get and keep their body in that constant state of primarily burning fat, which personally I find that to be concerning. And it's especially concerning because, like I said, she talks about it a lot and promotes this constantly on social media. Something that's funny is I typed intermittent fasting expert into Google, like just to see what would come up. Like maybe there is an intermittent fasting PhD, I don't know, but I looked it up just to see. The first thing that came up was stuff about Dr. Fung, Dr. Jason Fung. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Jason Fung is a nephrologist, so he's a medical doctor, and his specialty is the function and structure of the kidneys. Nephrology means like the study of the kidneys. A lot of registered dietitians that I've spoken to, I'm repeating this verbiage as I've seen so many like tell me and type it out, even like on our private Facebook groups. A lot of them think that Dr. Fung is a total quack. And this seems to be like the consensus among a lot of the nutrition professionals that I've spoken to. I have met a couple, and when I say a couple, I really do just mean like one or two RDs here and there that swear by his findings and actually apply his findings and his research to their own practice. So it's definitely something that is debatable. There is a lot to the science of fasting, and it is definitely applicable in certain situations. But as an aspiring bariatric dietitian, Do I think that somebody should go 30 days without eating just to lose weight? I don't think so. That's my opinion as a future nutrition professional and as a current biology nerd. So anyway, I talked about this one for a while. There's like over 30 minutes of footage on just this one. Let's move on. So since we're talking about the lumen, I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of add this bit in here. The thumbnail you're seeing right now is of a registered dietitian named Kara Corey, and she used to compete. She's very much into fitness, and also she's an RD as well. I've been following Kara for a very, very long time, like years now, and she and I occasionally chat on social media. Maybe like a couple days after I filmed this video that you were watching right now, she posted this thumbnail to her story about how she was discussing about the lumen. It was a full review in her professional opinion about the lumen. And I was like, I messaged her and I was like, oh man, what a coincidence that you post this right now. Like, I just got done talking about it in a video that I just filmed, and I mentioned that there is a Beachbody coach that's saying like you don't want to stay in the high levels of carb burning because your body will forget how to burn fat, blah, blah, blah. And Kara was like, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, I wanted to recommend this video. It's a good video. I watched the whole thing. Kara is basically offering her opinion on the lumen, and we see she talks about it. She talks about pros and cons. She walks us through a whole day of her using it, like first thing in the morning, a few hours after waking up, and then before she's working out, after she works out, etc. But I do want to say this. When I first clicked on the video, she started off by saying that the video was sponsored and she does have a discount code. And I was like, But then she's like, I know what that just sounded like, but she said that Lumen, she's been in communication with them, and they know that she's going to give her full 100% honest, uncut review. For those of you who know this, but typically when you're doing a sponsorship with a brand, they want to see the content before you release it. Kara says that they're fully aware of what she's doing, and they did not ask to see her video before she put the video up. So I was like, okay, so I mean, as long as they know that you're giving a completely honest review. But, you know, just FYI to that. Regardless of that, she talks about pros and cons of it. We see her, she takes us through a day of using it. And, you know, based on what I know, a lot of every time that she blew in it, I kind of estimated what the number might be. And my guesses were pretty accurate. And that's not just because, you know, I'm not just agreeing with her because she's a dietitian, you guys. The numbers that she was blowing with the lumen line up with the biology and like with the physiology of what one would expect. For example, we saw that Beachbody coach, she said she blew, I don't know, a 1 or a 2 in the morning, which I was surprised by. I was surprised that she was not burning more carbohydrates. And then on the flip side, Kara blew a 5 first thing in the morning, and that indicates that she was burning, her body was using more carbohydrates for energy, which is to be expected first thing in the morning. And Kara was like, that's fine. I that's not a number that I'm surprised to see. So anyway, I'll link it below. Give it a watch. It's really interesting. She gives good, honest feedback for sure. And she also kind of gets into who she thinks, like, who this would benefit and who would not benefit, blah, blah, blah. So again, I'll link that below. Give it a watch. It's really interesting. Okay, so this last one, it is the last one. Didn't realize I was already talking for a long time about that last one. So this last one is a series of screenshots, and it is of, we have a Young Living distributor, and she is, I sometimes don't like these words shilling, but it's shilling. That's what they're doing. Let's just be honest here. She is shilling a product called Allerzyme, apparently that Young Living distributes. So here's the post, which is interesting to me because I thought that Young Living was like all about essential oils, but apparently they have other stuff. So here's the post. It's just a picture of her holding it and smiling. Here it is. Let me tell you about one of my favorite supplements of all time. Her name is Allerzyme, and we can call her Allie for short. But that's my friend's name. Listen to me. If you struggle with food sensitivities such as gluten and dairy, you want to take one of these before each meal. You will be like, oh my word, where have you been my entire life? And the Aller part of this Zyme makes it double as a seasonal support supplement. 2 more reasons why you need this, and then I'll be done. Allerzyme is formulated to help aid a digestive system that is prone to food sensitivities. Also can be used for the relief of occasional symptoms such as fullness, pressure, bloating, gas, pain, and/or minor cramping that may occur after eating. Vegetarian enzyme contains lactase, so great for those who need additional support with dairy products. This is me because I love the queso life, but the queso life doesn't love me back. That's so funny. I have a lot of friends, this is off topic, I have a lot of friends who are like definitively lactose intolerant, but they'll like struggle through it just because they want to eat some ice cream. I look at my friends like suffering after eating ice cream and I'm like, what are you doing? Why did you do that? And they're just like, but it's so good. Anybody watching this have a dairy sensitivity, but you just like put yourself through it just because you want ice cream and queso? Anyway, did you know you can get started with Young Living with a single purchase? Wait a minute. We went from just talking about the product there to now you can join Young Living. Okay. Yep, this bottle of Allerzyme can get you started. This month, I'd love to cover your $25 lifetime membership, so let me know if you want gem of a sup in your life. Oh, $25 lifetime membership. So the product, as we just saw, is called Allerzyme. Allerzyme is a dietary supplement distributed by the multi-level marketing company Young Living. On the Young Living website about the product, they say, Allerzyme is a vegetarian enzyme that works with your body's system to promote natural digestive function. It uses ingredients such as plantain leaf and tarragon and ginger premium essential oils that are gentle on your system as they support normal digestion. This product is formulated for people with dietary and environmental sensitivities and helps provide relief of occasional symptoms such as fullness, pressure, bloating, gas, pain, and/or minor cramping that may occur after eating. Oh my god, I just realized that she copied and pasted that directly into her Instagram post. And of course, you can see the asterisks all over this because they have to add that the statements that they are making about this product have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration or the FDA. I could dip into some research about whether or not some of the individual ingredients in this product are actually shown to have an effect over digestive health or function. But that's not the underlying issue here. The underlying issue is the fact that, to my knowledge, this Young Living distributor has no back sciences, physiology, anything like that. And is saying things like, hey, if you have a gluten intolerance, take this product. In her Instagram profile, it says that she is a travel agent who specializes in Disney. God, I bet she is just a total delight to all her coworkers. So on the post, I don't usually do this, but I just took serious issue with her kind of giving this kind of advice. If someone is gluten or dairy sensitive / intolerant, they need to take direction from a physician or a registered dietitian, not some MLM dietary supplement that's not even FDA evaluated. This advice could potentially harm someone. I just felt that her post was so just dangerous and misleading to the uninformed consumer, so I just felt like I had to say something. And that's probably why she blocked me, because I was being a hater. If someone struggles with food sensitivities, they need to take direction from a medical professional. I don't have to tell you all who are watching this. I don't have to tell you guys that. I hope I don't have to tell you guys that. You guys already know that. Not just pop some supplement. And just as a reminder, this person is a distributor for a multi-level marketing company and is therefore just trying to sell you a product. So more than likely, she does not have your best interest in mind. She just wants to sell you the product. And, you know, as we saw toward the end of that post, she wants you to sign up under her team so that she can make her $4 in commission or whatever it is. But realistically, it really is probably just a few bucks. Her Instagram profile says that she is a gold leader in Young Living, so she's decently high up in rank because according to the Young Living 2020 income disclosure statement, that level represents 0.1% of all distributors. Also, according to the income disclosure statement of 2020, the average earnings of a gold level distributor is around $52,000 a year, and the lower end they make around $8,000 a year. And something that occurred to me is I have to imagine if she's still working as a travel agent for Disney, she's not making anywhere near $52,000 a year. I have to speculate that because if she were with this side hustle, wouldn't you quit your job? I don't know. That's just my take. Anyway, I don't have to tell you guys this, but being a travel agent does not qualify you to administer health care / medical advice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. In conclusion, well, that was a lot. My conclusion today is my conclusion every day after I make these. Buying a starter pack doesn't make you an expert in anything. And I always thought, and this is strictly my opinion, if you are an expert and you decide to associate your education and your credentials with a multi-level marketing company, then I just have to call your ethics into question. The fact is, though, that most distributors, consultants, whatever, of multi-level marketing companies, they're not experts. Many of them have had no training or background experience in whatever field they are trying to infiltrate with their bullshit products. And the messed up thing about it is the company, whichever company they work for, they don't care. All they care is that that consultant is making them money. And making money is not a bad thing at all. But I just feel like when you're making money at the expense of other people, at the expense of other people's health and well-being, and exploiting people's ignorance, is just, I just find that to be just a travesty. If you made it this far, comment, comment gingerbread. That's all I have for you today. My merch store will be linked below. Make yourself a lemon drop. And thank you so much for watching and supporting me and the channel. And I think that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Let's go see Alpha before the camera overheats. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. You've been taking naps. You've been taking naps. It's just her and Onyx here at home. Zeus is at the vet right now. Oh my goodness. Who's this handsome boy? Oh, you are so handsome. You look like a model, just right there, all over the pillow. He just loves my side of the bed. He only ever gets on the bed and lays on my side. Technically, they're only allowed up here when they're invited. But he's an old man, and we just let him. He gets a little more leeway around the house. Plus, look how cute he is. Elva, what are you doing? Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Oh, gosh. There she goes. Hey, baby. You want to say bye? You want to say bye? Elva. See if I can get her to start screaming. Elva. What? Elva. Wow, for once you've got nothing to say. For once, she's got nothing to say. What are you doing? Eva! Eva! What are you doing? What are you doing? You gonna say bye? Are you gonna say bye? Bye. Say bye, YouTube. I love you, YouTube.